these guys.
We are live. Hello, and I am facing the wrong way. There we go. Well, hello, my smile.
Are we on YouTube?
We are.
Did we tell our fans to go from Facebook to YouTube?
No, we didn't. I did.
Oh. Well, didn't I suggest that with you?
Yes, so we are live on YouTube, and I told everybody we were going to YouTube. So this is where we do this, on YouTube. So today we are going to be talking about cancer the cure, and I hope you've noticed that we spell cancer with a small c. We refuse to give cancer enough power to be capitalized.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And why is that?
Well, I think that's part of the whole getting your mind right aspect of it. Remember last time we talked about that 90% of facing any sort of illness, whether you're dealing with cancer or any kind of disease or any kind of trauma, you have to get your mind right. And if you're putting emphasis on the disease, then your mind is going to have to work that much harder.
The
dis-ease. Right. And if you marginalize the disease, then putting it at the same level is much easier to conquer than putting emphasis on it. That's what my philosophy is.
Right, so we're talking about not making it the scary, unknown, huge, drooling monster in the closet.
Right.
Or the creature under the bed. Not that it's not formidable, but don't start off
that way.
Ever giving it that much power. If you give it that much power, it's very difficult to take that back.
Well, right? I have a different analogy of that. My thought process is allow yourself to go ahead and cry. Allow yourself to be angry. Be angry at yourself. Be angry at God. Go through those motions. But then when you're ready to put your game face on, right?
Right. Well, you call that your house is on fire.
Yeah.
House is on fire time. So those are some of the things we talked about before. And this time, Alicia wants to talk about knowing your cancer. What does that mean?
So knowing your disease or knowing your cancer. And what I think is important is, and I'm just going to speak about cancer because that's what I was diagnosed with. So for me, I needed to gather as much information about cancer in general. So read. Then read about your cancer. Well, my cancer that I was diagnosed with, there wasn't a lot of readily available stuff. It was kind of a newer cancer that is out.
HER2 negative, hormone receptor positive.
Right.
And by the way, in case you don't know, stage
4. Yeah, it had metastasized to the bone. So it went from the breast into the bone. And for me, it was, I wanted to learn everything, what the cancer liked and what the cancer didn't like. And of course, what I wanted to do was do everything it didn't like and make that stronger. You know what I mean? And then pull back on everything that it liked. So I was heavier then. So right now we're dealing with contemporary times. It's, what's today, September 2nd, 2022?
Right.
And we are in our second round of cancer, and you guys will know about that because of the car accident. But we did lay it to rest. So what we're doing is bringing you up to our present. So we're trying to bring you up to the steps so that you can become in contemporary times with us, right? That's the goal.
Yeah, so you know where we're at and see how that relates to you.
Yep.
So what she just said, it just kind of went right like that, is that 4 years ago? 4 years ago?
Yeah, I should be dead by now.
Yeah, according twice. According to conventional medicine and according to the machine, Alicia should have been gone by now.
Yeah.
Okay, so here she is.
Still
here she
breathing.
Is.
I'm like that bad scary movie. I come up.
No, you're the Energizer Bunny. She's as tough as a Waffle House steak. I mean that in the best possible way.
I have a hard time digesting that.
Waffle House steak?
Hard.
Nah. So when she was diagnosed, She went through her house is on fire.
My pity party too.
Pity party. And then, then she wanted to know, we both wanted to know, but specifically her, because she's the one, excuse me, she's the one that wanted to learn everything that her particular cancer liked. You know, what does it thrive on? What strengthens it? What makes it stronger? And then conversely, what weakens it? What makes it weaker? Those are two parts to your cancer.
It's kind of like how Superman was with kryptonite. So
I know a little bit about that.
Right. That's why I'm trying to make the analogy so that people understand. You really want to understand what you're up against with the cancer.
Yeah. Yeah, and that information is out there. And then at the same time, do not neglect strengthening your immune system.
Yeah.
Right?
And also getting your house in order. That was one of the critical things for me, was that I was, in retrospect, overweight. And although now I'm probably a little skinnier than what I would like to be, we came to this point the first time intentionally. And then
Explain that.
Well, at that point in time, I was probably about almost 135 to 139. I'd fluctuate. When I was diagnosed, I was drinking a lot. We were eating very unhealthy. We were having a great time.
Right.
But I was feeding cancer what it wanted. So it wanted bread. It wanted
red wine.
We were drinking cheap red wine at that point in time, or mediocre, and so that is also full of sugar. That was one of the things that I learned, is that when they do a third run on a wine, they're adding sugar to it. So I think that's real interesting.
So cancer feeds on sugar. So that's something you want to stop.
Glucose.
Yeah.
Which is what they inject in you, which we hit on that in the first video. But now it's really love us some Dr. Bonatti.
Okay. So know what your cancer feeds on, know what your cancer does not feed on, know what strengthens your immune system, know what weakens your immune system.
And you'll know that also, fenbenzanol, the Panicure. Remember I told you that, I did see things.
I don't think we talked about Panicure the last time.
We didn't?
I don't think so.
So one of the things that I researched on the internet was, sorry, I feel like you're so much taller than I have to.
I am taller than you are.
No, my goodness.
I don't even know if my face is on camera. It's all about you.
Mm-mm. It's about us.
So, Panicure.
Panicure was one of these things that I researched. And my goodness, when you're diagnosed with stage 4, you pretty much will do anything. And why wouldn't you risk everything? Because if the machine is telling you that they can no longer help you, I would never want to go down that path and get to the point to where the machine shuts me down. I wanted to be in the driver's seat from the get-go. So, and the reason why I say that is that I used to help a lot of my clients who had cancer and stuff, and I think we touched on this in the last video. So I kind of saw a little bit of what the road looked like, and I was like, I really didn't want that road to be my road. I wanted to be more involved in my road instead of a doctor telling me that take these 2 pills and we might be able to prolong your life by
a little bit.
Another 22 months. Well, 22 months in the grand scheme of life, that's not much. So I think I'd rather roll the dice on me, and that's my choice. And I think that that's what I want to reiterate, is that the more knowledge you have, the more risk you can take. And that's kind of how I look at that.
So read up on whatever it is you've been diagnosed with. That's first and foremost. Have your house is on fire time.
Yeah.
And then read up on it. Find out everything you can for a certain period of time. I think this is important. You can wind up. The great thing about one of the great things that Alicia did is Alicia crammed for an exam, the exam of life.
Sure did.
And then, through those books, How to Starve Cancer, Keto for Cancer, those sorts of books, read up. In fact, it was on YouTube. She saw about the gentleman that was talking about Panacure. But then after maybe a month, maybe a 2-month period of time, then she stopped and she stuck to those books, because you have to, my experience with this, and I've been right next to it, is that you have to land on your own plan of attack.
Correct. Well, I also had, and I'm going to share this with you, as that one, I told you that I deemed God as my Savior, and that asked God to get me through it. Well, also God would send me nuggets through friends. And one of the nuggets was on my wedding day, a girlfriend came in and had to tell me or share with me that I was on the right path. So that affirmation gave us we have to stick to our plan and work the plan and don't deviate from the plan. And that's what John and I did, is that we agreed on our plan.
Yeah.
And then we worked it.
Otherwise, very well-meaning people
will
come in and you will be like
all over the place, and you can't. You've got to be steadfast on it.
I don't know if you believe this or not, but personally, I believe that if you are steadfast on something that is going to strengthen your immune system and weaken your cancer at the same time, regardless of what that plan of attack is, I believe it will work. Cancer is smart. Our cells are smart. If you deviate from your plan and try something else and something else and something else, it will be like a lot of people fail at diets. A lot of people can't lose weight. A lot of people can't gain weight. I think because they keep changing up. Find a workout program that works and work it. Find a system, a diet, a exercise
program. A way of
program.
life. So I used to say this with cancer. Learn to eat, don't think of keto as a diet. And I'm not saying that keto might be your thing. It was my thing. It got my weight down. It got me into ketosis. It got me into a fat burning machine instead of a sugar burning machine. And
it starved the cancer.
Right.
Yeah, but you stuck to it. You were talking about sticking to a plan.
Yeah.
Rather than deviating. Don't deviate from the plan.
Correct.
So, having said that, I don't know that there is or I would say that there is not a one-size-fits-all plan.
Yep.
The plan that will work for you is the one that you design yourself, hopefully with someone who loves you.
Right.
And if not, if you are alone in this, find a plan.
Find an advocate.
Come up with a plan. Find an advocate. Find your best friend. Find somebody.
Neighbor.
Yeah.
Your
somebody
mom
that
had a
will be
neighbor,
there.
right?
My mom had a neighbor. Yeah.
Because I asked John about that. I was concerned about Miss Shirley, and it really just dawned on me this last time, after the wreck, that Miss Shirley had to go through hers with her neighbor.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a hard thing.
Yeah. But if you are someone who is in this boat and you've been diagnosed with cancer, or you're fighting it now, I ask that you examine your walk with it, your battle with it, your struggle with it, and see if you have continued to deviate because someone comes up
with a better thing, or they say to you, and this is what I would like to share. I had hundreds of people sharing their stories with me about either their own personal journey or their cousin's journey or someone close to them. And those are great, but you still have to be authentic to you. And so for me, listening was a good thing, but I still had to rely on what I felt and what we felt was the best possible path. And you only get that by knowledge. And I think that that's the thing that, like with modern medicine, is that it's great to have modern medicine and have that insight, but you also have other things that you can get insight from. The internet can give you insight. Nutritionists can give you insight. Pharmacists can give you insight. You know, who's in this arsenal that you are going to start building. And that's one of the things that we're going to get to, is building your lifeboat. That's not where we're at right now. Right now it's identifying, figuring it out, and figuring out, okay, I have this kind of cancer, it likes to have this. Like mine is hormone receptor positive. So I need to do everything in my power not to feed it hormones. I shouldn't feed it stress hormones, which we'll revisit that later on, or regular traditional injections of hormones. So, that's one of the things that was my learning thing for my cancer.
Mm-hmm. So figure out what your cancer is. Your doctor has already told you that. Your oncologist has already told you that. And then find out through research what it likes, what it doesn't like. Work up a plan that will that you can do.
It's achievable, right?
It
has to be achievable, and incorporate in that plan, keeping your heart rate. So these are the things that we know for sure, right? So I'm gonna give you a quick survival kit with this. We know that cancer doesn't like a body temperature over 104. All right, so how do we get that? Infrared sauna would be the first thing that comes to mind. The second thing comes to mind would be walking on a treadmill holding a 3-pound weight. Doesn't sound like much, but it'll bring your heart rate up to 150.
It doesn't like a high heart rate either.
Correct. Drinking a lot of water, and try not to drink out of plastic bottles. Try to drink out of a tap. Try to drink water that comes out of glass or milk cartons or metal. Try to avoid plastic. Try to avoid plastic at all costs is one of our
I'm not a fan of the metal one, but yeah.
You and I have a different thing on that.
Yeah. We I try to avoid that. It tastes better anyway. So stick with your plan. Make it achievable. Like Alicia just said, I used to work out at a gym called Vince's Gym. In the first 2 weeks you went there, the workout was intentionally easy, so easy that the plan was, it was so easy that it made you want to lift more weight, want to do more reps, rather than come in and say, I'm going to bench press more than I ever have before. Because then you try that on the first day, you hurt yourself, and then you quit.
And you never go back.
Yeah. If you quit going to the gym, you're just going to get out of shape. If you quit your putting cancer in its place plan, you will die. Stakes are high.
Yep.
Stakes are
it's
very high.
It's your life.
Yeah.
Right? So make a good plan, make it an achievable plan. I'll share this with you. In the beginning, I didn't drink enough water. And in my mind, I used to say, well, I don't like water, or, it doesn't taste good enough for me. And what we ended up doing was making a game out of it. And we set the timer.
Mm-hmm.
And we would intentionally set our timer, and when the timer went off, we had to guzzle a quick...
Like 2 big gulps of water.
And it was a fun thing that we could get through, and we got through a lot of water in a day.
Yeah, we drink maybe 2 gallons of water a day, a gallon each, when we were driving down the road. So make it a game, make it fun.
Same way with walking. Give yourself a sight that hey, I'm only going to walk to the fence and back. Then the next time go 25 feet beyond that, or 25 yards if you feel like you can do it. Wherever your eye can set you another sight. So when you reach the fence, look ahead and see what your next sight is. And then the next time you walk, you hit beyond what that is, and you keep adding to that, and it makes it easier for you to do what we would call reps.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. You keep doing achievable goals. And
that also helps with serotonin in your brain,
mm-hmm.
too, because you're actually getting something, and the body gets a positive affirmation. And a lot of this is mental.
Say that again.
90% of any disease, including cancer, is mental. And that's a fact, Jack.
So achievable goals, and like Alicia just said, if you live on a road like we live on, go to the corner and back, go to the end of the driveway and back, and then go a little further the next time. If you put yourself into a habit of winning, you will win.
Yep, the mind will every goal that you get, it releases serotonins in the body, which is really great for fighting things.
Because it builds your immune system.
Right.
We're not doctors, by the way. We're the two most famous non-oncologists on the internet.
You're so funny with that.
So, achievable goals.
Yep, and
Gotta have 'em.
we have more stuff to come. No, we have now we're talking about getting into the driver's seat. So right now, this is kind of like you're opening the door and you're sitting in and you're realizing, oh my gosh, this is the driver's seat. I've been sitting in the passenger seat. We have a steering wheel, I have rearview mirrors, I have all these things. Well, that's what you're doing right now, is that you're checking out what your driver's seat looks like, okay? And you do that by researching.
You adjust the seat.
Right.
You adjust your mirrors, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Put good fuel in the car.
Yeah.
Not cheap, bad stuff. And get ready to get out there on the road. You can do this. That's the underlying message here of all of this is that you can do this.
Mm-hmm.
You actually must do this. Here's the one a lot of people don't like. No one is going to do this for you.
Right. There's not a magic pill. You still have to work. And that's what God wants you to do, is take a step, make an action.
Yep. Know your cancer. By the time we see you next week, we want you to know your cancer. What is it? What is it like? What doesn't it like?
Or disease.
Where did it come from?
I wouldn't worry
Right.
too much about where it came from. I
Well,
wouldn't get hung up on that.
no.
For me. No, I mean, I did that initially, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really
You can't do
matter.
anything about it.
It's your here and your now right now, and then let's work on making goals that are achievable, and start writing things down and journaling, so that way you can see your growth and you'll know your journey, and that you have like milestones. Like we have milestones, and right now we're repeating the journey, and this is what's great about you guys are coming along with us repeating it, because we had a mishap with me hitting a wall racing, and I broke my back, and I invited cancer back into our life,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
And I did some not too bright things in retrospect, but it's obviously put us back on a path, because we have some things that we want to share with you, and there's more things that I've learned in since our 2019 original diagnosis.
Absolutely.
We've
Yeah.
learned a lot. I'm glad we didn't finish the book.
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad that, see, we were going to do a book called Oh Hell No, and then that kind of morphed into the driver's seat, and it never really got its wheels. We never really
Right,
got
wow.
into the car to write the book, because life took us in different directions, and then the wreck really threw us for a curveball.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I'm just starting to think
We
about.
talked with Jamie today.
Yeah, I spoke with Jamie. We're going to start organizing thoughts and life paths and all of that stuff. And then you guys are getting this with us on YouTube, and then being part of our process. This is great for us, and it's great for you guys. And I think it's just going to be a great thing for everyone in the end, because the whole thing is about the cure, and it's a process. And that's one of the things that we might have been a little bit more accelerated, because we did have clear PET scans, and maybe took things for a little bit more for granted, and then life threw us curveballs, and I had to learn some more lessons again. So,
Right. And we're sharing them.
yeah, and for me, always try to look at the positive. Whatever you're dealt with, and I always say this, excuse my French, I'm one of the persons that can take chicken shit and make it into chicken salad. And you should learn that lesson any time in your life. They say if life throws you lemons, give yourself
Make
make
lemonade.
lemonade. Same thing. Whatever you think this is a horrible thing, you think chicken shit, well, make you some chicken salad.
Okay. And by the way, one last thing. As you are going down this journey, before cancer is part of your life, you hear all these terrible stories about cancer. Here's some good news. Once you have made a positive decision to take charge, to get in the driver's seat and take charge of your diagnosis, your dis-ease, you will start hearing success, success,
And you'll
success.
start seeing it, yes. You'll see
Everywhere.
it all around you, yes.
Everywhere. If you don't, then you must change your circumstance. You cannot fight this alone. You cannot work yourself into victory in this area if you are surrounded by negativity.
Yep.
Okay?
That's true.
Chances are that's all going to go away anyway. But if it doesn't, you know, because there are some people that just love a tragedy. If those people are around you, you must, with all the love you can muster, say,
stop.
Dude, you either have to stop this kind of talk,
Yep.
or you got to go away.
Yep. You have to set good boundaries for yourself, and you have to tell people to stop. You don't need to hear negativity. You've heard, you know, so-and-so's Billy Bob's brother, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. That's not your story, okay? You're writing your story today, okay? Not someone else's,
I like that.
right?
How many patients do you have?
Me, right?
You have one patient.
That's right,
Your doctor has many.
right. So value yourself first,
Yep.
right?
What do they say in the movies at the end? They say, well, it's up to her now. Well, if it's up to her at the end,
Then
or
it's
him,
up to you in the
then it's
beginning.
up to her in the beginning, right?
That's right.
Okay. You guys and girls take care. We will see you next week sometime.
Absolutely.
For what are we going to talk about?
I have to kind of marinate on what we're talking about, and
Okay.
it kind of comes to me.
All right, and people will ask questions, by the way.
Yeah.
And people will tell us your you know, people read this, so tell us your victory. There's a lot of people we saw from the last time. A lot of people have wonderful victories.
Oh, wow. I think they've called a couple times. You should call him and then call Benatti.
Call him back.
But I would like for us to sit and have a little bit of a drink.
All right.
Seating has been affected by heat. It's not real leather. So throw a quilt down or get some fabric or whatnot.